The game does not run on gratitude.
Popular YouTube psychologist Dr. Orion Taraban unveils his understanding of the nature of reality in this video. The game does not run on gratitude. Now, most of the people that Dr. Taraban is speaking to are young men who are trying to understand why they're struggling so much to get ahead in relationships. And he describes a truly dystopian version of reality that I think is probably true for Dr. Taraban and for many, if not most, of the young men listening to his content. But I think there is a massive exception to everything that Dr. Taraban is saying that is being hidden from you. So let's listen to his argument and then stick around. I want to describe what that exception is.
My friends, loyalty is extraordinarily rare. The vast majority of human relationships are not governed by loyalty or fairness or gratitude or kindness or any other virtue or ideal. They are governed by power, which is the ability to either give people what they want or don't want, or withhold from people what they want or don't want. It's the ability to implement benefit and harm. When you can no longer benefit or harm someone else, you have no power in the relationship, and so you surrender your only real chance of ever getting what you want.
Now, I have no doubt that the world that Dr. Taraban is describing, where you have to constantly exert leverage in every relationship to make sure that you still have enough power to get what you want, is the real way that so many relationships in our day are governed. Now, he makes the point that there's something inside of us that feels like loyalty should actually be the grounding of these close, committed relationships. But he's trying to dispel you that this kind of loyalty is a pipe dream. You cannot base any of your assumptions about human nature on loyalty, because people will immediately do whatever it is that they want, what's in their best interest, that the world is essentially a power game and that you need to constantly be exerting your leverage or gaining more leverage. Now, I do not live in this world at all. This entire video, which I've watched multiple times now, is totally foreign to my experience. I live in a world where loyalty is constantly being demonstrated in relationships. And I think that as I began to wonder why he believes this is sort of a fantasy land that nobody could ever achieve, one of the reasons is there's another word for everything that Dr. Taraban is describing in this video, and that word is honor. We live in a culture that really does not care that much about honor. Now, in the past, honor was what governed your closest relationships in life, especially familial relationships. When you get married and you make a vow, when you say things like in sickness and in health, for better or for worse, and rich or poor, till death do us part, what you are doing is you are saying the basis of our relationship is going to be loyalty to a promise, a covenant that we made with each other. And I watched my grandparents fulfill that covenant. I watched my parents fulfill that covenant. I am 28 years into fulfilling that covenant. My wife has done an exceptional job of being loyal and fulfilling that covenant. And if I were to get sick, or we've been through so many different situations, I would be completely relying upon that loyalty to get us through, not power. And I'm watching as my kids enter into covenants with their now spouses and also are making this same bet. Now, why is Dr. Taraban saying this does not really exist? This is not really how life works. And I think that he's right. If you do not have an essentially religious framework that you are thinking about the world and relationships through, you are stuck in a world of raw power. And this makes making things like a covenant or designing your lifestyle, assuming loyalty, an exceptionally dangerous thing. And so what do we do with this? And this is really where I want to at least offer another suggestion that I have yet to hear Dr. Taraban make. And I've listened to many of his videos, and there's enormous amounts of wisdom about the way the world works coming from his videos. But the thing that I want to say to you guys is that instead of just following psych hacks, better living through psychology, I would like to give you a theology hack, better living through theology. And that is, if you want to have and exist in a world of loyalty and honor instead of power, you need to make sure that you find someone who believes in God and will stay loyal to you because she believes that the covenant that she made before God is binding on her, that there is a history of this kind of honor that she is willing to exert that if she has existed within that framework for her entire life, then it's actually a fairly good bet that loyalty, that honor that she senses in that relationship will continue to persevere. And we desperately need to live in this world of honor when it comes to our closest, most committed relationships. This is the world that children are designed to be brought into. This is what creates that enormous stability that a family needs. And so to suggest that all of our relationships are essentially power-based, and to sort of discount the role that honor and loyalty play within a family relationship is to really misunderstand or to throw away or discard thousands of years of human history where there have been many communities that have successfully created cultures of honor within households that have been reliably upheld. Now, we are challenging that in every way. And in an interview that I listened to Dr. Taraban say that when he was asked, will you ever get married? And I believe his answer was no. His intention is to go from various long-term relationships with women, but never to settle down with a particular woman. In other words, he's not going to make a covenant with her that's going to bring into existence this realm of honor that needs to exist for their long-term stability as they age, and especially for their future children and grandchildren, the creation of a family and a multi-generational family line. Now, that's what we're here to help you guys try to figure out. But I want to just issue a warning for those of you guys who are listening to this kind of messaging, that if you live within the world they're describing, where you are exerting power over relationships, and that you are using that power to get what you want, and you expect the other person to do the same, that world certainly exists, and you have every right to choose to live inside of that world. I want to make sure you are aware other worlds exist, that it's possible to live in a world where loyalty and honor are predictably preserved in relationships, and that you can rely on those things. And that will only come not through psychology, but through theology. You have to believe that these promises are binding on you because you have faith in God. And that is the reason why the Bible says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, that when people actually fear the Lord, and what that means is they have proper reverence for the fact that God is the ultimate judge, and that when you make a binding covenant before him, that fear of God is going to create a basement of stability within your life and cause you to stay loyal and exist within this realm of honor. That's the beginning of wisdom, Solomon says in the book of Proverbs. And I believe that many of us live inside of that world because we have faith that such a God exists, and we make those promises. We need to keep them because God is watching, and God is going to hold us accountable for those decisions. I live inside of that world. If you're interested in living inside that world, I really encourage you to pursue somebody who lives in that world and believes in God. If you want to escape this dystopian world where we are leveraging power to get what we want, and we can never rely on people that are closest to us to be there for us when we really need them.